Today we are going to talk about the reimbursement um, of damage inflicted by Russian war in Ukraine. It is 111th day of war. Over this period of time, a lot of buildings, infrastructure units and housings were destroyed all over Ukraine. The total of damage in Ukraine is assessed as 60 billion, $600 billion. We cannot assess human losses so far. In the meantime, we need to record all facts of crimes against properties, against human beings in order to be able to bring the perpetrators to justice. We want each and every crime to be punished. We want Russia avoid impunity. Together with our speakers, we are going to talk today about the eyeWitness atrocities program, about how useful it can be, about how it is being used already in order to record Russian crimes in Ukraine. This program was developed by an international community with the use of the best and newest information technologies. The program is intended to record, to exercise photo and video record of various events with the possibility of saving them in a specially dedicated place. Our speakers will talk in more details about that. Our key speaker today is Wendy Betts. She will be the one to make a presentation of the program. Ms. Betts is the author of multiple publications dedicated to war crimes and atrocity crimes all over the world. Our second speaker will be Roman Chumak, Ukrainian lawyer who has been staying in the city of Kharkiv from the very beginning of the war and have been supporting the population in need alongside his professional activities as a lawyer. Roman Chumak is a member of our bar associations for a very long time. So before I give floor to our esteemed speakers, let me please give you some guidelines regarding interpretation. Since the event will be interpreted simultaneously, you will need to make necessary settings using the interpretation button at the bottom of your screen. For those who connect via mobile phones, you need to press the globe button. Let me also remind you that we will have a Q&A session after the presentations of our speakers. We might not have time to process all questions. However, we will record all questions and all the questions which will remain unattended during event will be forwarded to the speakers so that you could receive responses later. We expect the event to last 1 hour and a half approximately. So let me go down to the core of our today's discussion. Currently, our country, together with international partners, is seeking solutions to rebuild Ukraine to restore damages inflicted by the war waged by Russia. But before that, we need to record damages. We need to record crimes, and in order to do so in a to do that in the most effective way, we highly recommend using the eyeWitness atrocities application. We have also addressed to decision makers at the regulatory basis, asking them to adopt relevant regulations recommending the use of eyeWitness atrocities applications as a preferable way to record damages. And now I'm very pleased and honored to give the floor to our key speaker, Wendy Betts.
Thank you very much, Alina, and good morning to everyone. As Alina said, my name is Wendy Betts, and I direct eyeWitness to Atrocities. eyeWitness is an organization that was launched in 2015 by the International Bar Association. We are based in London, but we work with human rights defenders around the world to increase the evidentiary value of photos and videos that they collect about war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, and other serious human rights violations. We have actually been working in Ukraine since 2017, originally focusing on the events in Donetsk and Luhansk, but of course expanding that work in the current circumstances. Before I go into more detail about eyeWitness, we'd like to show a short video that explains who we are and what we do. Can we please start the video?
Here at eyeWitness, we know that the most heinous crimes would never have been brought to justice without brave eyewitnesses, and that with the smartphone, many more individuals have been able to raise red flags around the world, exposing crimes that may never have surfaced. We also understand the barriers eyewitnesses face in verifying the truth of their evidence. Views can be biased. Footage can be edited. As an initiative of the International Bar Association, we know the legal requirements for photos and videos to be admitted as evidence in court. Recognizing the immense risks eyewitnesses take, we believe these efforts should never be in vain, and potential evidence should always be admissible in a court of law. Our mission is to facilitate justice for the worst international crimes. That is why we've developed the eyeWitness to Atrocities app, for eyewitnesses to easily gather footage about atrocity crimes that can be verified and assessed by professionals for legal use. When using the app, the date and location are collected from 3 separate sources, before internal software creates a digital fingerprint for the footage, rendering it uneditable. Most importantly, we ensure a trusted chain of custody and act as verifiers once the footage is sent to us. And that's not all. Our partnerships with LexisNexis, DLA Piper and international law firms make sure that all footage is secure from hacking and analyzed by a network of top lawyers for use in investigations or trials. Although atrocities are inevitable, justice is not. It requires evidence. With the eyeWitness to Atrocities app, courageous eyewitnesses to these crimes are empowered to capture the evidence needed to hold the perpetrators accountable, to seek justice for the worst international crimes.
So that video explains a bit about who we are, but I will give you some more background. The idea for eyeWitness arose in 2011, and this came from 2 trends. First was the increase in the use of smartphones and the rise of social media platforms, such as YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So these trends resulted in people recording and sharing information on war crimes and other violations that were occurring in conflict zones in a way that the legal community and really the whole world had never seen in the past. We saw the first widespread citizen recording of conflict in Syria and are now seeing these trends crystallize in Ukraine. We have all seen so much footage circulating on social media from Ukraine, which seems like it is a ready source of evidence. However, what we learned in 2011, and is still true now, is that footage and its metadata, so that means the location, date, and time it was taken, that is recorded with a standard mobile phone can be easily edited before it's posted online or sent to investigators. So even if information is accurate when it is recorded or when it is posted, because it can be changed as that information is circulated through various social media groups. So because this information can be so easily altered, all footage will need to be verified to be of use in any investigations or trials. So even the footage that won't go to court will need some level of analysis done to be useful to investigators. The same is true of any footage that is used to show damages. The easier it is for a court or the agency that is determining the claim to verify the authenticity of the footage, the more successful that claim is likely to be. However, the process of verifying photos and videos that are taken on a standard mobile camera is very time intensive, it's very labor intensive, and in the end still may not be conclusive. So while people may be under the impression that there is already more than enough evidence to prove the crimes and that damage has occurred in Ukraine, this isn't actually accurate. However, photos and videos taken with the eyeWitness app can be used as evidence. So let me tell you how eyeWitness addresses this challenge. We developed a free mobile camera app for Android phones that records footage in a way that facilitates its verification in order to meet admissibility standards for court. This app is based on 4 years of research and development about admissibility standards for photo and videos, about security risks for the photographers, and about the needs of the human rights defenders who are taking these photos. The main features of the app, as explained in the video, that ensure that the footage is verifiable are 3 things. First, it records when and where the footage was captured in a way that cannot be edited or deleted. Second, it ensures that the footage itself cannot be edited. And third, it protects the footage and the metadata. So again, the information about the location, date, and time. It protects all of this from tampering until it is provided to the court or to the investigator. After the app user records a photo or video with the app, they send a copy of that footage to eyeWitness. We store this footage in its original encrypted format in a non-public facing server until such time as it can be used in an investigation or trial. This process keeps the footage in a closed system that allows us to trace its lifespan to show that no one has had access or the ability to change the footage. We are then able to maintain the security of the footage as we store it because our server system is hosted pro bono by LexisNexis. This is a legal services company based in the United States, which allows us to scale up the amount of storage space we need very quickly and provides us with the highest levels of security around the footage. So once eyeWitness receives the footage sent by the app user, we make a working copy that we decrypt for review. So we keep the original encrypted version in one secure storage space, and we decrypt a copy that our staff review. And we have a team of volunteer lawyers that catalog and tag all of the footage so that we can index it by content, which makes it easier for investigators to work with. So now investigators can have an idea of not only where the footage was taken and when the footage was taken, but also the content of the footage without having to review thousands or hundreds of thousands of photos and videos. So eyeWitness launched the app in 2015. Since then, we've received nearly 27,000 photos and videos from human rights defenders around the world. We have provided this footage to a variety of international and national level investigative bodies. This includes the International Criminal Court, Europol, and the United Nations. So for some examples, notably, footage taken with eyeWitness has been used at a trial in a criminal case in the Democratic Republic of Congo in 2018. The evidence was submitted by the national prosecutor to a criminal tribunal. In this case, 2 militia leaders were convicted of crimes against humanity for their involvement in 2 massacres that took place in 2012. We have also submitted evidence footage to various war crimes units across Europe and other locations. However, these cases have not yet gone to trial. In addition to legal use, we have sent this footage to many non-legal investigators. So for example, last year, we sent a report to the United Nations related to the shelling of civilian residential areas in eastern Ukraine using footage collected with the eyeWitness app. And we have also sent footage to a number of other UN commissions of inquiry. In total, we have provided 24 packages of information to investigators at different organizations. So again, this could be the International Criminal Court, the United Nations, and national level prosecuting units. So I know there are a number of evidence collection portals in Ukraine, and this is of course very important. As Elena said, there must be evidence in order to hold the perpetrators of these crimes accountable. So eyeWitness itself is designed specifically to capture photo and video in a way they can be easily authenticated for court. That is what the app does. So we do not replace any other evidence collection portals that have been established. Instead, we think we complement those efforts. And that is because any verifiable photos and videos that are taken with eyeWitness can then be uploaded to any of those evidence collection portals. The added value is that then should there be any questions about the authenticity of the footage, we can use the master copy that we have safely stored to demonstrate that that footage is authentic. In addition, another benefit is that these crimes sometimes take a very long time to come to trial. So we can safeguard that information and securely store it until that time. So in case the photographer is no longer available, maybe they have left the company or the organization, or they've left the country, or they can't be found, we can still help demonstrate that this footage is verifiable. And if the photographer can be found to testify, this can help strengthen that testimony. So how can we help specifically organizations and companies that want to document what's happened to their facilities? So we generally work in partnerships with organizations or entities that are using the eyeWitness app. When we have a partnership, we can recognize what footage is coming in from representatives of your organization or company. And that way, we can ensure that you can access all the footage that is collected, and we can help support you in any claims you want to make with that footage in terms of making sure it can be safely transferred to the authorities. We can also provide feedback or other support or consult with you if war crimes investigators are also interested in using your footage for other types of war crimes cases. So for example, if you would like to use the eyeWitness app to document the damages to your business caused by the war, we can enter into a partnership agreement with you. As part of this agreement, we can provide you a unique username for your personnel to register in the app. We can then identify all footage taken by your personnel and either send it to you together with all of the information about the location, date, and time, or we can safely store it for you until you request it because you want to make a submission or a claim. Additionally, if the footage is of interest to other war crimes investigators, so this could be the Prosecutor General's office, or it could be the International Criminal Court, or it could be other jurisdictions in Europe that are investigating, or the United Nations, we can facilitate a transfer of that information if you consent. So if you're interested in using the eyeWitness app to document damages to your businesses, you can do so at any time, even without a partnership. However, we would encourage you to contact us to discuss a partnership, as we can then provide you additional guidance and support. So that is the background about who eyeWitness is, what we have done in the past, and how we are working in Ukraine. But so you don't have to hear it just from me, I will now turn over to my co-panelist, Roman, to talk about what it's actually been like using eyeWitness in Ukraine.
Thank you, dear Wendy, so much. Thank you for your very interesting report, for showing a video that very concisely but very to the point showed the situation that we have at hand in the world, because indeed the chances of condemning Russia and supporting Ukraine was enabled due to social networks and digital technologies. But to confirm that the information is true and that it's credible, it's only possible with using the technologies that you are suggesting, and because Russia broadcasts fake news and distorts information, and only honest and verifiable information provided, visual information, because the world now is a very active consumer of visual information. If it's confirmed and if it's accurate and true, it helps the world to support Ukraine, to condemn crimes. And we will definitely be moving towards these crimes being punished and hopefully never happening again. And before Aman's address, if possible, I'd like to ask you a question, because I guess we are within a timeline. We can have this question. It would be very interesting for me to find out whether there is such cooperation at the level of individual account in our in this program, or at the level of governmental programs. Is there cooperation with investigative bodies in some states? Because I know that in Ukraine, investigation is done based on specific procedural code. It's quite a conservative document that does not always take into account digital technologies. And for now, prosecutors in Ukraine, the Office of Prosecutor General, cannot officially use eyeWitness, but it's evident that it's a very progressive step, and that would simplify collection of evidence. Maybe in the world you have experience of such cooperation with investigative bodies of other countries. Maybe Roman will also comment after his address, because it would be very interesting, because we need to move not only to protect the victims, but the state also must be there at the forefront of technologies to fight crimes. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm happy to speak about that. So generally, we have designed eyeWitness not necessarily to be a tool of professional investigators working for the state, because they have their procedures and their mechanisms. We designed eyeWitness to be used by civil society organizations, to be used by journalists, to be used by other citizens who have access to the sites where these crimes have potentially taken place and can collect information often much sooner than professional investigators, and to help empower these individuals to collect this information in a way that makes it more useful to professional investigators later on in their investigation. So it can help, even if it doesn't go to trial, it can help lead investigators to other types of information and evidence they might be able to collect. by helping to give them an idea of what has happened on the ground and give them some sense of what has happened at the scene much sooner than they arrived. And because we designed it to take into account the basic standards of admissibility, it is much stronger than footage you've taken with your standard mobile phone in terms of helping investigators. Now, every jurisdiction will have its own very specific evidentiary code and laws, and we have found that we have designed eyeWitness, though, to the very core principles of that. So there might be other aspects we have to demonstrate about its verifiability, or there might be a desire to still have the photographer testify if possible, but the photo and video itself is much, much stronger for that use in investigation than it would be with a standard mobile camera. So in that way, we do collaborate with state investigators in every jurisdiction that tries these types of cases, because we want to make sure that the information collected is going to be of the most value to them as possible. So we regularly discuss with them the design of the app, what information is collected, how can we make it stronger. So we are very confident that the technology we've designed is indeed helpful to state level investigations.
Thank you so much, dear Wendy. Indeed, in my turn, as a member of the working group on audit of damages, we also recommended to add this recommendation on using this app as overall recommendation for all, for everyone, for business, for state authorities, to create most verifiable evidence database to then proceed to considering bringing to responsibility. Thank you so much, and I give the floor to Roman. As I said, since the war broke out from the very first days, we see through the social networks that Roman is involved in recording the crimes committed by Russia. He has immense experience of using this software, and he's ready to share practical experience, because even knowing all the positive elements and all the advantages of the application, it's so useful to see how it happens in practice and to hear the feedback from the lawyer who is already using this software. And I'm so sure that everyone will be very interested, because I liked so much at our previous discussion. So Roman, the floor is yours. Good day, dear colleagues. When I was offered to test this software, the most important things were for me, two of them. First, data security, security of data gathered via this app, and user-friendliness of this app, how easy it is to use. I download this app and I use it, and I can share not only overall recommendations, but also practical experience. If I may, I will start sharing my screen. I will show you the presentation. Here it is. So, we must understand first why a user must choose this app. In order to make this choice, the user should figure out whether it's easy or not to use it, and whether this app meets the requirements and the purpose of why he or she downloaded this. In general, we have a website of this app where you can find all materials available in Ukraine, all the guidelines and manuals that would help you to figure out how this app works and how it can be used. And it's a couple of words about me. I've been living in Kharkiv and I'm still here since the war broke out. That's why main time I volunteer, but I'm also a lawyer, so I agreed to be a short-term team member of eyeWitness in Kharkiv and personal experience to test how this app can be used and to what end. So the main criteria of why this app can be used. As Wendy said, we have here the issue of security,
можливості забезпечити
data security,
Ну, якщо, наприклад,
and of further this data being able to be used in proceedings. So if we compare usual pictures on the phone and the pictures that you can make using this app, first of all, it should be said that this app helps you automatically determine the time when the photos was made and find the location. So it's the geographical data that can be easily then checked and compared with the locality. So it's impossible to say that this photo was taken at a different place. It's very good that these pictures, photos and videos can be uploaded to a server and they can be deleted from your own device. Why it's important? For example, when you take picture at your own phone and you store it in a gallery, such pictures or videos, even at the request of a troop of military men, you will have to delete it. For example, when I had to take picture of how the building was damaged, I had to, at the request of the military, delete that video and picture. So that is not downloaded to your phone or to a gallery. It means that you don't have any data of the fact that you did it. On your phone, it's quite good. At least it guarantees that you're safe and it makes sure that the work that you have undertaken will matter. So, first, what you need to have a good phone. Frankly speaking, I haven't used Android. I found a good phone with a good camera and with a good operational memory. It's quite important because there are some technical requirements for the device where this app will operate. App is quite easy. It's not that voluminous. It doesn't take a lot of operational memory. It can be downloaded to any Android phone. You need to make sure that the camera is good and that you can later use and you can be happy while using it. How to make it work? Of course, it's Google Play. There you find that app. You download it. Nothing difficult there. You install it at your own phone. To get started, you press that button, get started, you press it, then you accept terms and conditions of your business. And for me personally, the important thing was when I downloaded it is that the information where these videos and pictures be later sent. So what will happen with the data that I'm collecting? That's why it was important for me that this data be either transferred or were safely transferred. That is what is important. After reading this information, I understood that there is some cloud where this data is stored and organizations that represent this app, they're well renowned and they are recognized and trusted among the professional lawyers. That's fine. Username, of course, if you record the damage, you need to indicate your name, the real one that you're using. Also, there is a chance to use email. I didn't do that, but it's also possible in case you want to do it. An interesting thing, a PIN code. It's an old phone PIN code. So using this app is done without any password. So you open your phone, you open the app, you use it. Then the question of access to gallery, that is place where your photos and videos are stored. This all happens via PIN code that you yourself set up. And if such a phone goes into the hands of people not so much want it, or if they try to examine your phone, you must use the PIN code. It's a very good thing. False, fake pin. You can also put in fake pin, and if, for example, somebody forces you to show the content of that materials that you have taken via this app, you can enter this fake pin, and in that way, you will additionally protect your application. That is, when you open this app, you you enter fake pin, and then not the gallery where all the pictures were taken, but a gallery of usual phone, where as a rule there is nothing, because we all agreed in the beginning that professionally we use only this app and we never store relevant data in phone gallery, so everybody will see that there is nothing there. Also, the extra security option, you can choose a different picture of this. You can choose a different icon, so it doesn't have to be eyeWitness, but you can choose a different icon and it would be difficult to establish if somebody examines your phone, if it's about this application. In these over than 100 days, my phone was examined millions of times, and somebody might say that a lawyer must not give a phone to be examined, but you understand when there are hostilities, when you go either some checkpoints or whether you meet the military, sometimes it's easier to comply with the requirements without doubting the legality of it and then move on to achieve your goal. So it's quite relevant for the content of your phone for it to be secure. So it means that there will be no extra information that will harm you. That's important thing. Or this information can be obtained by third parties who you don't want it to get. And when we are setting it up, we go to work. Of course, we must provide access to all options, to features, to camera, to sound, to geolocation. It's a must. That is, you provide in this app the right to determine where this picture was taken. So welcome, everything is successful. You set up this app to be used. That's how the main panel looks. That's what it looks like. And when you turn on this app above, please see that you will have data of how much time you have. All the other settings are easy. In the middle, you have a recording. On the right, it's a very important one. It's switching photos and videos. So when you are at some place, you can take both photos and videos. And sometimes it's difficult to find a location where you can take a big picture, or there are some natural objects that prevent actually now relevant to the trees when they are blossoming, and I always take additional video, just take a video and to make sure that the full picture is given. For example, if a big house is concerned or a block of flats are concerned, not fragmented, but additionally you can take a video of this house in such a way you provide more information and people will see more of it. And if there are some remaining missiles, projectiles, or any military armaments, it's also advisable to record it, to then identify who owned that equipment and what party shelled this or that object. So you can also switch front and other cameras if you need. All the other settings are quite standard and have their usual nature in the phones.
Це такий вже вищий рівень налаштувань, власне, де ви можете обрати, власне, якістю, різні якості відео, тривалість відео налаштування. Рекомендується, в принципі, зробити там
So this is where the sophisticated settings can be done. You can improve the quality of your video here and change some other settings. And here you can choose which photos you make. You may test functions of the app by making 5 trial photos. I personally did it before I started using the app. It is always better to switch on the GPS function for better results because, for instance, myself, I rarely move across the city just to record damages. I usually drive to bring humanitarian aid, for example, or with other purposes. And in the meantime, if I see some buildings destroyed or damaged, I make photos and videos. So it's always better to have your GPS on. Besides, at least in Kharkiv, the municipality tries to just remove the debris immediately when it is possible. So one needs to be really prompt to be able to record destructions and so on. So another feature of the application, it suggests to make a 10-second test video quite easy to do. Now, speaking of the gallery of the application, one needs to use a PIN code in order to get access to the gallery. The fake PIN is also available to secure your phone and yourself. And besides, let me remind you that the phone gallery and the application gallery would never intervene, and you're safe once someone is just looking through your personal photos in your phone gallery. Now, again, a slide mentioning the possibility of using fake PIN code. And now let us talk about disadvantages or drawbacks. Actually, there is none. I personally haven't identified any particular drawbacks. One just need having a good phone. I'm not talking about some super expensive or super sophisticated phones, just a good smartphone with some basic functions available, like the one I personally have, and I've never had any problems with the use of public application. The only inconvenience I faced was the lack of operative memory. So you just need to make sure that you have enough memory for the better results when using the application. In this slide, you can see how the app gallery is displayed. You may sort files by name, by date, by size, it's quite easy and convenient in use. You can make additional settings in your gallery. These settings are intended to secure your gallery even more. One does not need to memorize everything, how to deal with the settings. The dedicated website is available, including in Ukrainian, and you can always check and seek necessary information there about how you make additional settings. So what else can be done with the files saved in the app gallery? Actually, you can do with the files in the gallery whatever you can do with regular audio or video files. You can share these files, you can send them by email, etc. It is advisable to add a description to each file. So the date and location will be recorded automatically, so you don't need to mention this in a description. However, you may be willing to provide or attach some additional information related to the file. By the way, video recording is available with or without sound, depending on what is preferable for you. However, even when video recording, some details one may skip some details, so the description is intended to be able to record what cannot be seen or easily identified in an audio or in a video. Now, how the app collects metadata. I, as a lawyer, was particularly interested in this part. So actually, the app collects 3 types of metadata, which are time, date, and geographical location. This metadata are quite common, and there are special features in any device which allow collecting this data. And basically, sometimes your devices do so when you take regular photos or videos. Now, as I said, you can share your files. There is a possibility to try out sharing photos and videos. Sometimes you may fail to do so because of the quality of the video, so it's always better to double check the quality of photos and videos before sharing them, and actually before saving them. You may upload photos and videos to other portals, as it has been mentioned today. You need to give authorization to the application for uploading files. Why it may be necessary? Because the main goal of recording damages and destruction is to help the state to prosecute and bring to justice the perpetrators, to punish those who are responsible for atrocities. So you need to be sure that your materials can be used for these purposes. Once a file is successfully uploaded, it will have a special sign, a special image in the upper corner of the icon. So general recommendation in case of unsuccessful uploading is to check the internet connection. What happens after you uploaded a file? So these are the features I personally paid particular attention. So in the first place, your file is encrypted. It cannot be accessed by any person, any third person. Then the file is being reviewed and checked. It is safe, and you can always have access to this file anytime you need it. You may share several files in one time. It is quite easy to do that. Again, there are guidelines available on the website, but frankly speaking, I never checked them because everything is quite understandable, and I just intuitively knew how to make it. Now this is my last slide. Should you have any questions, you may contact the eyeWitness to Atrocities application team. And now the very last slide with my contact information. I'm here for you to help you and to answer your questions if you have any. Now, answering to the question why it is needed at all. This is like an overall umbrella question. This is the matter of security, the matter of personal security, the matter of security of files you are willing to use in the future. I will just give you an example. Several days ago, I was at an enterprise which was heavily damaged. It was basically some parts of this that enterprise were basically destroyed by bombing, and they are planning to demolish the destroyed parts of the enterprise in a few days. They need to do that because they need to rebuild, restore their capacities and continue operating. So nobody will be waiting for some state commission to come and to record damages because it is too time consuming. No one says that they should not call police or inform dedicated state bodies. They should and they did, but they don't have time for these organizations to come and to do all their work. So they need to record damages here and now to be able to seek restoration of damages in the future, but the life goes on, and they need to continue their operation. So this is where eyewitness to atrocities is of good help. Besides, it is just very convenient because before I started using eyewitness to atrocities, I was using just my mobile phone to record damages in criminal cases before war outbroke, and I would need to print out these photos to attach them to hard copies of case files. It was just very complicated. Thank you for your attention. Roman, thank you so much. Thank you for such a detailed presentation. I personally have never used the eyewitness to atrocities, but now when I see how easy and convenient it is, I will surely do once it is needed. So thank you very much again for this presentation. And again, let me remind about the initiative that we are thinking over right now, which is to reach out decision makers so that eyewitness to atrocities application is recommended for use in some regulatory act. Because indeed the application is very sophisticated compared to other similar applications or programs. It is interoperable with other portals or platforms. Photos and videos can be easily uploaded, printed out, and attached to case files. So again, it is very convenient and very easy to use. Besides, let me remind to everybody about DIA portal, which is the governmental portal given access to various state services. It is indeed a very quite sophisticated application, which is available in Ukraine and which doesn't always have analogs abroad. So DIA, alongside its regular services, now offers the possibility to record damages to properties, and Ukrainian citizens may submit applications for recovery of damages via DIA. So in this connection, I have a follow-up question. Have you ever had a chance to upload files, photos or videos made with eyewitness to atrocities application to the DIA portal? Are these two applications interoperable? Because if not, it would be highly recommended to make them because all files which are in DIA will be saved in the portal for future use for criminal proceedings to recover damages in favor of Ukrainian individuals and legal entities.
Дякую. Ну насправді усі отримані результати роботи
Thank you. All this data, it's video and photo materials of usual format that we're used to, so to upload them is no problem. And the only issue is I'm not sure whether it's possible to verify extra options here. I'm not in a position to answer. Personally, I haven't used and I didn't upload this data from eyeWitness to DIA application. Here we have different fronts, in particular legal services. Advocates and lawyers also have to do some social mission, and this is an opportunity to have this social mission to collect photo and video materials by collecting it to form evidence for Ukraine to then get compensation for damages, and you undertake huge social mission. Of course, it can be done commercially for one's own, God forbid, damage or for your client's damage, but in general, it's a social mission. You can form this evidence for the country. It's quite easy. The application is user-friendly, and in short time span, you can make everything work. And of course, it must be done as soon as possible, but also take into account security. That is, when the security situation allows you to get there, go there, because all these traces, they disappear. Somebody's collecting the metal, what was left of projectile. It will be difficult to prove it then. We have, for example, usual fire. Then we will need to prove that it's a usual fire that happened before some technical reasons, or it was as a result of the projectiles. Yes, of course, we need to get documents from respective emergency services, but if there are intense hostilities, the firefighters tell you, sorry, now we need to fight fires, we can't drop documents for you. So of course they try to get access, then we try to settle these issues, but speed is what it matters here.
Безумовно, це буде круто, класно. Чим більше
Of course, it would be interesting the more apps we have, professional ones, the easier for our citizens it will be to deal with it. That it's for a usual smartphone user. It's a user-friendly app. It doesn't require any special technical knowledge to use it. As far as I understand, we can go to Q&A session because in chat we got a couple of questions from today's attendees. Some questions, I will quote them now if needed. Maybe Wendy or Aman will elaborate on that, but as for me, during the presentation, it was covered. It's just the questions were before they were addressed in the presentation. These are two questions. First is whether the user witness has access to his or her data on the server that the person uploaded. As for me, it was mentioned. Also, the question is whether automatically the data from eyeWitness are uploaded to the server. That is, I guess we received an answer to that question, right? Yes, we have. So a question I personally don't know an answer to, and I'm interested to hear about it from Ramana from Wendy. So question is whether IMEI of the smartphone is transmitter, that is identifier of the telephone, IMEI, whether the person using it, whether it is transferred together with the uploaded data to the server, can we identify? And I would be grateful to hear a comment on that.
I'm happy to answer that. The answer is no. So eyeWitness does not collect any personally identifying information unless the user volunteers it to us. So the user can put their real name or they can put an alias and they can add an email, as Roman said, or they can leave that blank. And then we do not automatically collect anything else. So not the IMEI, not the IP address, not any geolocation about where they have registered, because we assume they've probably registered in their home or their office, which could give them away. So we're only collecting information at the time the footage is being recorded and only about that footage. So where and when it was taken and information to ensure that it can't be edited. And if I can just clarify then the access to the footage. So we don't have direct access to the server. So you can't log in to our server and get your footage, and not just for security to make sure that that information stays in a very closed system. But we can provide that information back to you so we can extract it and give it to you. Now that is easier to do in a partnership because it is easier for us to recognize based on a username we assign you, what is your footage. But even outside a partnership, we can try to verify your identity and send you that footage back. But that is a bit more difficult because, as I said, we're not collecting any personally identifying information. So we will have another series of questions to ask to confirm that you asking for the footage is indeed you, the same person who collected that footage.
Thank you so much, dear Wendy, for your answer. Also, we have here questions about whether it's planned to have Ukrainian interface because it will enable the dissemination of the application among users. So while we were listening to the program, and I can recommend to have phone settings to Ukrainian, and then the program will automatically select Ukrainian as the interface. So I provide an answer myself to that question because Ukrainian interface is there, and it makes the app as user-friendly as it can only get for Ukrainian users. We have a question for Aman. Evidently, it's most probably that it's a question to him. Our attendee asked to explain the mechanism how the photos and videos are sent to Ukrainian courts. So how can we submit this information to Ukrainian courts so that it is admissible by Ukrainian National Court? And the question is whether it's possible to do at some disk with qualified electronic signature. It's a specific mechanism to get access to the judiciary in Ukraine. I guess that it's unlikely that you had this experience of filing a case with the court, but in general, as in providing evidence, it could be done, I guess. The mechanisms according to which Ukrainian courts accept electronic evidence, e-evidence, I guess it would be inadmissible piece of evidence. Roman, can you comment, please? Yes, of course. Moreover, I will tell that this is part, using this app can be part of a report on independent assessment of the damaged property. We all know that any such report must have a table that has as detailed picture as possible of this or that object. And if it so happens that, for example, that we have movable property damaged, for example, a car, you recorded it and then disappeared. There is no this car. So you will have a technical issue. How can you give the report about the damaged property? That is an option. Or also you can have some changes in this object. For example, one time second time, and then it was just taken apart for security reasons, for nobody for so as it doesn't fall on anybody's head, something or something like that. Parts of blocks of flats in Kharkiv are being taken apart, being demolished to make sure that they don't present danger to people living around. And it means that some evidence is destroyed, it just disappears. And then we have a part of a block of a building, but it's no longer the same as it used to be in the beginning. So it's important here to record it as it was in the beginning. We all know that later on it will be used. All the case files will be used. Publications in press, photos and video materials from social networks, where different users are recording the fact that something took place. Somebody was recording how this or that projectile hit a place, and somebody was recording a fire, and it all will be assessed by court. And I don't think that the court will raise any doubts about it. The question is that the picture is done of that very object, and that is a feature of geolocation that ensures that answers this question. So we have specific coordinates that would be very difficult to question, and it would be very difficult to prove that it was done at a different place. I guess that when Ukrainian courts considering later on the claims against the Russian Federation, when we have a mechanism, it will not be a question if Ukrainian courts wants to officially get in contact with eyeWitness and get information or confirmation from that organization of this evidence, in case the way how it's filed from the very plaintiff will raise some issues. And this app and this organization made sure that this is an official and very much verifiable and reasonable procedure. So I guess there shouldn't be any questions with that. We have a hand raised, Vyacheslav. The host can enable him to ask a question. So please, hosts, give an opportunity to Vyacheslav to ask his question.
В'ячеславе, ви можете
Vyacheslav, you can turn on your mic and you can ask your question.
бо ми вас не чуємо.
Because for some reason we cannot hear you.
Щось
There are some
якісь-
technical issues. I can see that this option is there, or the question was already asked and maybe you already heard the answer. That's why you no longer have a question. Also, we have a question to show, and again, in the screen, how the app looks in App Store. I guess not App Store, but maybe in Google Play, because unfortunately, iPhone, it's impossible for iPhone. But Wendy, you're planning to enable it for iPhones too, is that right?
We are doing research on how feasible that is, that we can keep the same security and functionality and anonymity to build a version for iPhone.
Дякую.
Thank you. Thank you.
Колеги, ми наразі
Dear
не маємо...
colleagues, currently we have no further questions. So I guess we talked to you and I understood. I got very useful answers to my questions. I'm so much grateful to Wendy and to Roman for today's presentations, for the fact that we could hear such relevant information. I'm very grateful to hosts for this event, and I'm sure that we will not only win in this war, but with your help, we will be able to bring perpetrators to justice, and we will be able to get compensations for Ukraine, for all our citizens, for the country from Russia. And this is where eyeWitness will come in handy. That's my own recommendation to you. Please use this software, use this app. It will simplify work for us, for lawyers, for courts and for interstate commissions to be established, because this software proved its efficiency and how unique it is in the market. So I'm sure that we will be win. All glories to Ukraine. Have a good day. Goodbye.